Australia is getting back into the business of shipping non-citizens to a Pacific island. This time, a secretive $408 million deal with one of the world's poorest nations.
Almost $500 million so that Australia can dump people that this government doesn't want on a new island prison.
It's really hard to think of a scheme or a purported solution which is so lacking in basic accountability and transparency.
On Friday, Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke visited the Nauruan Parliament and signed a deal with President David Adiang. Payments from the Australian government will be linked to the arrival in Nauru of so-called NZYQ detainees, hundreds of people who were freed from mandatory detention in 2023 after the High Court overturned a 20-year precedent.
They've been found to have no rights to be here.
That's
and
right.
Therefore, people have no right to be here.
So you're paying off a poor country to take them?
No, people who have no right to be here need to be found somewhere to go.
The Prime Minister is making no apologies for adopting the hardline approach pioneered by John Howard more than 2 decades ago. Memories of the 2001 Tampa election, when Labor saw an election-winning lead overturned by concerns about illegal boat arrivals, are still fresh in his mind, as is the migration crisis engulfing his UK Labor counterpart, Keir Starmer.
We're bringing new tactics into play and a new level of intent to tackle illegal migration and break the business model of the criminal gangs.
Here in Australia, this is not the first time Labor has embraced a so-called Pacific solution. Facing a voter backlash in 2013, following the drownings of more than 1,200 people trying to reach Australia, Kevin Rudd struck a deal with PNG to divert hundreds of unauthorised maritime arrivals to Manus Island. More recently, the former UK government tried to replicate the policy in a failed effort to forcibly send asylum seekers to Rwanda.
It is an extreme overreaction of the most dangerous and draconian kind to be treating them in this way.
Refugee lawyer David Mann, who has clients among the NZYQ group, is concerned about how taxpayer funds will be used in Nauru.
We know that under similar schemes, billions of taxpayer funds have been expended, causing incalculable harm and without proper accountability, and with serious questions of misappropriation on an industrial scale.
The people sent to Nauru will be resettled and live among the community, according to the government. And there are renewed questions about how the island's government will manage people considered too dangerous to stay in Australia.
This was something that was negotiated between the Nauruan government and Australia. The Nauruan government has provided, I guess, I would imagine, those assurances.
News of the deal was released on Friday via a statement published on the Minister's personal website, just hours after Tony Burke announced the National Museum's purchase of a baggy green test cap worn by Sir Donald Bradman. Since then, there's been no press release or background documentation about what Nauru agreed to.
All this deal is about is a political fix with a $500 million price tag that treats people not just as political problems, but as commodity.
For now, it's not clear how many former detainees will be sent to Nauru. At the same time, the government is rushing through legislation that would deny people being deported to third countries the right to procedural fairness over Immigration Department decisions. Tony Burke said the obligation is not necessary for people whose only option is deportation.
The basic point here is that they have rights, and the proposal to pay another country to subcontract our obligations at vast sums to another country is to deprive them of their most basic rights and freedoms in this country.